Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So let's talk a little bit about the friend zone. You're never too old to be put in the friend zone. All you got to do is be single, weak, and beta. Trust me, it's happened to me. Lots of people have been in the friend zone. Sometimes you get stuck in there, you don't even realize it. You didn't realize that you allowed it to happen. It's something that you allow to happen. Now, there's two aspects to it. Let's talk about ourselves first, and then we'll talk about the external factors. So, the friend zone is truly a zone for weak men who are afraid of rejection. And that's really all it is. If you want to avoid the friend zone, you have to be direct. You have to communicate what your interests are. You have to be able to state what your mission is. Tell the person, I like you, I want to date you, etc., whatever it is. You have to be very direct with that. If you beat around the bush, you could find yourself in the friend zone. Communication is the key in any relationship, and if you want something in this world, you have to ask for it. You have to be direct, because a lot of people are not going to read the code. They're not going to read the signs and signals you're trying to send. They may not understand them. They may not be like you. They may be distracted, whatever. So you have to be explicitly clear of what your intentions are when going into a relationship with somebody. Taking rejection can be hard, especially if you've been single for a while and you really like somebody, you're infatuated with them, their beauty, whatever, and you think, oh man, if I just hang in there, maybe she'll come around. She won't come around. A woman will be able to determine if she likes you, if she wants to sleep with you, if you're worth dating, if you're her type, within 2 seconds, literally within seconds of the first meeting of when she sees you. They're no different than men in that way. Men can size somebody up. I can size somebody up instantly and tell if they're worth my time or not. A woman can do this also, sometimes more successfully than men, because they're not as clouded by some of the things that we get clouded with. Women aren't as focused on sex or physical appearance as men are. And it's good to know. You have to have a personality. You have to be charismatic. You have to be direct. You have to be confident. Confidence is the key. But it's something that, being in the friend zone is something that you allow to happen. You create that zone for yourself. And then you sit in there. I've been there. And you sit in that zone for weeks, months, maybe years, with that fantasy of maybe she'll come around. If you haven't hooked up with her after the first time you've hung out, you're not gonna get her. Move on. Be strong enough to move on. Be strong enough to be single. Don't be the lonely guy. If you feel lonely and desperate, that's an inner flaw, that's an inner weakness, and you need to face that. Nobody is going to be attracted to that. There's a lot of people that backpedal and try to make up excuses and convince themselves and everybody around them of why they're chasing down somebody for so long, doing all these favors. I've seen guys, and I've been there, but I've seen a lot of guys just go to unusual lengths to impress women, to please women, do things for them, pay their bills, drive them around, whatever it takes, all with the anticipation of maybe someday getting down their pants or getting into a relationship of some sort. It's not going to happen. You're being used. You're allowing yourself to be turned into a punk. It's incredibly emasculating to realize that you've let this happen to yourself. I've been in the friend zone, and when I finally realized what was going on, I couldn't believe that I allowed myself to become that way, and to get stuck in that kind of relationship with somebody. The anger that I felt on that wasn't so much projected onto the person. There are external factors, we're going to get to that, but it was projected onto myself because I just felt bad that I was so weak, so beta, that I allowed myself to fall into that trap. Confidence is the key. A confident, dominant alpha male doesn't care if a woman wants him or not. He's not hunting, like we used to call it chicken hawking. He's not going around chicken hawking, hunting for chicks. That's what weak guys do. That's what beta males do. A confident alpha male lets the women come to him. This happens a lot, I've noticed, to men who start aging, who are single, because they lose their confidence. Maybe they were hot shots in their 20s, and then they get a little older, they find themselves still single, not in a serious, committed relationship of any kind, and they're looking for one, maybe not understanding why they can't find one. That's an inner flaw, and it means that you need to work on yourself. You're not presenting yourself in a way that's desirable. But you don't need to be a peacock and to show your feathers like that. All you have to do is be yourself. A true alpha is just themselves. A true alpha male doesn't care what other people think about them, isn't even paying attention to that. And they draw people into them through their own charisma and their own confidence, their leadership abilities. A lot of people don't even really know what it is about them. Oh, that person's just so cool. It's because they exude these qualities. So it's just something to know, and it's something to work on. It doesn't mean just because you're in the friend zone, you don't have to be trapped forever. Not unless you want to be. You may have to take the risk, and this is hard for some people, to take the risk to lose that person as a friend, to lose that infatuation, that person that you're infatuated with, that they may not be in your life anymore. You may not be friends with them anymore. You're not trying to be friends with them. You want to be friends with your lover. And it's a good idea to be friends with your lover, to have both. But you have to be very careful and not get trapped in the friend zone. A relationship starts with attraction. It's very rare that somebody who is just a platonic friend will eventually see you as relationship material, as a lover. It's more likely than not that that person, has already decided that you're just a friend, that you're not even sexually attractive to them. You may have the infatuation, they don't. That's usually how it works. So you have to take the risk to lose them. Rejection can suck. But really there's no such thing as rejection to an alpha male. Because a true alpha isn't going around hunting, chicken hawking with women. They're coming to him. So if a woman says, I don't want that guy, he doesn't even notice. Why? How would he notice? He didn't care. So it's not rejection. Now let's get to the second part of this, is the external factors. The external factors of being in the friend zone comes from the person that you're going after. If you are meeting women who have only guy friends, and they use that excuse, we've all heard it, that they just don't get along with other women, and they think women are catty, women are bitches, and they use these excuses like you're talking to a dude all of a sudden. And you find that she's surrounded by men. If you look on her social media and she has no female friends, maybe one if she's lucky, and 1,000 dudes. Go look at the people who are commenting on her post. If her best girlfriends aren't commenting on her posts and it's just all dudes, lines of dudes, this is a real red flag. I don't mess with people like that. That's a psychosis. That's a problem. That's a person who is using other people like a vampire for energy. She's using men for validation. Forget about how she describes it. This is the reality. A woman who only has male friends like that isn't able to relate to other women, and that's a huge problem because she's using men to make herself feel good. She's using the sexual attraction of other men to make yourself feel good. That's a major problem. You don't want to be around people like that. People like that are a major red flag. Get rid of people like that. Models are like this. If you don't chase these Instagram models, those are the worst kinds of people. And even real models. I don't look at Instagram models as real models. I know some of them make some money, but I've lived in Hollywood. I've met models that make $20,000 an hour. For real. Real models, magazine models, Vogue and Cosmopolitan, that type of stuff. These are the worst chicks, man. I mean, you have fantasies about them. You see them if you watch too much porn, and I suggest you not watch too much porn. That'll fuck your mind up. But a lot of guys have these fantasies. They get out to California and they're like, oh, I'm going to hook up with the most beautiful model ever. First of all, it's not going to happen. These girls are messed up, despite how beautiful they are. And half of them really aren't that beautiful in real life. Trust me. I've hung out with them. I've seen them. There's a lot of magic that goes on there. So stay away from models. Stay away from somebody who has too many selfies, who's just taking selfies, and they have all these guy friends and they're just posting selfies all over their social media. This is somebody who has got a real problem. They're messed up in their head. They got work to do, and you don't want to be their therapist. You don't need to be their daddy. You don't need to be constantly dishing out attention, be their host like they're a parasite and they're just going to suck your blood. You don't need to be that kind of host. Get rid of parasites. A woman who is putting you in the friend zone isn't interested in you. A woman who keeps you in the friend zone is using you. Be willing to let that person go despite how beautiful or how infatuated you may be with them, and realize that your infatuation is not reality. Get to know these people. You'll find that they're very shallow. There's more to life than sex. If you have constant sexual infatuations with women, you're just looking them at walking porn. They're not even real people to you. That's a problem. You want to get to know people. You want to be in a relationship with somebody, a committed relationship with somebody that you find that you have things in common, that you can feel on the same level with. I've been through all this. There's nothing worse than being in a relationship with somebody who is incredibly narcissistic and self-centered. I'm kind of a deep guy. I read a lot. I like philosophy. I have a mind, body, and soul lifestyle. I've been in relationships with these dingbat Instagram models, all kinds of people like that in that realm. Gets old real quick. A piece of ass gets old real quick if they don't have anything else to them. One of the best relationships that I ever had, even though it broke up in a weird way, and it is what it is, but was with a woman that the more that I got to know her, the more beautiful she became. Sure, I was attracted to her in the beginning. You have to have physical attraction. You're not going to take some ugly chick and turn her into being a goddess. And conversely, you're not going to take some real hot magazine chick or some Instagram chick that you just think is a perfect 10, beyond a perfect 10, and turn her into relationship material. The lifestyle somebody leads, the things they talk about, the type of person they are, the type of character they've had. I made another video about character. This all matters when you're getting into a relationship, and you can tell these things on the first meeting. You should be able to tell all of this within the first time you meet somebody. Within 10, 20 minutes of talking to a woman, you should be able to tell if they're worth it or not. If they're, sure, they might have a nice body, but there's a lot more to this world than having sex, than a nice body on a chick. I suggest personally, if you want to alleviate yourself from pain and from being in the friend zone, to stop seeking one-night stands. I stopped seeking one-night stands years ago. Years ago. It felt like such a gratifying way to be conquests and all that. With every one-night stand, I felt like I lost a piece of myself. I felt like I became weaker, but only after the fact, of course. I realized in myself that I like relationships, not just one-night stands. A one-night stand is masturbation with somebody else. It's a self-gratification. You're not really trying to give to them. When you're in love with somebody and you have sex with them, you're giving to them. So these are the types of tricks and tips to use when you're meeting people to not get into the friend zone. The friend zone sucks. I've been there. I've been there. It sucks. And the shittiest thing about it is realizing, at least for a guy like me, is realizing that you let it happen. The good thing about the experience, I must say, is it taught me about myself. It taught me where my weaknesses were. I look for struggle. I don't avoid it. I look for my flaws. I don't avoid them. When I find a new flaw, when I meet a new struggle, I get kind of excited. I realize, wow, then here's a new mountain to climb. I mean, I don't want to be flawed. I want to be perfect, right? But that's not possible. That's not reality. Nobody's perfect. Except my grandmother. My grandmother used to say she was perfect, and I believe her. She also used to say she was 40, and she said that for 40 years. But nobody's perfect. Accept your flaws, realize that this could be a problem for you if it is, and dive into why you're letting this happen, your fears of rejection, your fears of being alone. A true warrior doesn't fear being alone. He relishes in it. Being alone isn't a curse. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to walk your path alone for the rest of your life. The right people will find you, as long as you're doing your job. Every single day when you go to bed, and I'll end it after this, every single day when you go to bed, you should have a feeling inside of you, as you're brushing your teeth and as you're laying your head down, when you're doing your nighttime rituals, getting ready to go to bed. You should have a feeling inside of you that you have done what it takes today to be the best that you can be. You know, the Army says it, be all you can be. It's an incredible, wonderful, empowering statement. I love it. And if you can't answer that at the end of each day and say, yes, I am being all I can be, I'm doing my part, then you know what you have to do for the next day. Thanks for watching.